Okay, hello everybody. Greetings. This is Young Penitent, and welcome to the show. We do not have what I'm doing tonight. Is I just was bored. Like I like the idea that Mano has over at Study of Stuff. He says he's got the Bored No More network, and the idea is just to have a YouTube, basically a television show on his channel that he's putting together, which is going to have live streaming 24/7, so that when you're bored, you'll have the boredom is it's a devil's playground, right? So you can have someone who is hosting, someone's live, you can tune in, you can interact, and you can be entertained and stave off boredom. And this is a little dangerous because I don't know. I didn't think about what I'm going to say here. I was hoping, actually, I am hoping that someone would call in. I want to meet my audience. I want to know who you are. I meet some of you. Some people, some percentage of the people comment. OBG is always in the comments. Here's a interesting comment. She says, Satan is beginning his pre-Lenten attacks. Yikes. That doesn't, I'm the devil. Yeah. I mean, I could see that happening. Sometimes my priest says there's something called a pre-Lenten temptation. So maybe that's what OBG is referring to. Maybe she's having a temptation. So I hope you are able to overcome your temptation. Here's another comment. She says isolation can be bad, and I don't know how many of you are like me, but I am a bachelor. I live alone. I'm a lifelong bachelor, and I just sit in my cell here, and I guess I could try to just do the Jesus prayer all the time or something, but we've got this internet. We have a way to connect, so we might as well use it because if you were like in a monastery or something, you could maybe go and have a meal with the brothers and go to the library and have a talk before you go to bed, and a little bit of community. So I'm trying to create a little bit of community. Here I built up this channel. We got some followers, and I want to hear from you. I want to meet you. I want to know, who are you? Who's watching out there? I made a post today on X. I said, some of my viewers are Orthodox Christians, baptized Orthodox Christians. Some of them are in the process of becoming Orthodox Christians. Some of them are not. Some of them are they just found me. They like the channel, whatever. That's fine too. You can watch. You don't have to be Orthodox to watch my channel. You don't have to become Orthodox either. If you just like the vibe, you like what I'm saying, and that's fine. So anyhow, let's see, there's going to be, I hope someone can call in and we can do a little chit chat. I have a spaces going on. There's going to be multiple ways to join the stream. I have a spaces going on X right now, and I can also invite you if you want to join through StreamYard. But these are two ways that you can join the conversation if you would like. You can go to my spaces on X, raise your hand. It's at Young Penitent, and I'm also going to send the StreamYard link here into the chat room on YouTube. So there you are. For anybody watching, I want to meet you. I want to know who my audience. I want more data. I want more data points. I want to know who you are, where you are in life, in your spiritual journey. Are you Orthodox? Are you learning about Orthodoxy? Some people find my channel. I could say, oh, we do have a requester. So I will get to you, Mr. Steven, in a moment, as soon as I finish my thought. I do have a request. Someone raised their hand. So I'll get right to you. Let me finish my thought. I have broadly speaking, I have my Orthodox audience, my coming to Orthodox audience, my non-Orthodox, and in there are some subgenres of people who are following me. Some people like me because of the rap. So I have the Christian rap, Christian hip hop guys. There's a couple of those guys, kind of a subculture there. And then there is the who are the other guys? Let's see. Oh, some of the guys are like weightlifters. I've noticed like there's like a whole bunch of weightlifters from Texas who followed me because they saw my weightlifting video. Oh, and the guy disappeared. Oh man. Okay, so the guy join again, Mr. Steven. You disappeared. You had your hand up and you just didn't have any patience. And if nobody's calling, no one to talk to, then what am I going to say? I mean, I can go over the news or something. I don't know. There's nothing really like exciting going on in the news right now. I know that, I have like this theory that people want something to be going on in the news because if there's, they want us glued to our screens, and we want to be, we're addicted to our screens, and we're addicted to X and our social media and YouTube, and we want to be stimulated. We want that dopamine hit, and I think that they want us on their platforms. They make money from us being glued to our screens. So everybody wants to be glued to their screens. I don't know if it's healthy. I think it's it's definitely not healthy, but I'm trying to use it in a good way. Okay, so let's see. Orthodox Boomer Grandma says, talk about Barron Trump talking about extreme disclosure about to happen. He said it on X. I don't have X. Okay, so I think that is fake news because Barron Trump does not have an official X account. And I know this because when Donald Trump launched his meme coin, followed by Melania Trump, I looked into this, and everyone was saying, "Oh, Barron Trump's next." But I looked into it, and Barron Trump does not have an official X account. I think that he's sort of like Barron is like the heir to the throne, okay? And he's under tutors, it's like President Trump is trying to keep his son out of trouble. He doesn't want his son to create any bad press. He wants to keep his name clean. He's probably grooming him to be a politician, which is why he's always standing in the back behind Donald at every major event, because Donald Trump is probably grooming him to raise him up to be some sort of figure, I think, in the future. Maybe a future president. Maybe it'll be a dynasty, the Trump dynasty. I don't know if our country lasts that long. So I wouldn't put too much stake in that X post that you saw, like, oh, this is going to happen, something's going to happen. So I'm hearing from Orthodox Boomer Grandma here. I love it. I mean, you could call in if you want. There's the link. You don't have X. You could call in through StreamYard if you want. Who else? I mean, I don't see, no one else is in the chat. No one wants to say anything. Come on. This is the call-in show. You guys are going to embarrass me here if nobody calls in. Like I said, you can go to my X. Okay, or OBG is not ready. I do say I'm gonna have to try to come down and visit you guys. It's in my mind. I've been thinking about it. Just telling you. Orthodox Boomer Grandma. I want to plan a trip. I have a trip planned for this weekend. I'm going up to the monastery, and the monastery being All Merciful Savior Monastery. There's a Brotherhood retreat. And it is a retreat of the St. John Brotherhood. Oh, yes, you're welcome. Thank you for the pemmican, she says. By the way, my most recent episode, I interviewed David Treebeard. You can watch it if you want. And he talks about his pemmican company. And he's trying to, put together a facility. He is starting a facility to create to make his own pemmican to sort of increase the production capacity of his company. But so, like I said, I already said this at the beginning. I want to meet my audience. I want to know who you are. I want to know something about you. I'm trying to encourage you to call in. I have a space going on X, and there is a link which I'll post again. Somebody call in. Don't embarrass me, or I'm going to just have to keep jabbering like I am, or find something to talk about. What have I not talked about? I mean, I kind of want to know, maybe you could tell me where you are in your journey to Orthodoxy or something like that. I could talk about mine. I've talked about it before. Actually, here's something I could do is I could just like go, people who are new to my channel, like they don't know, I can just show some of my videos. Like I can recommend videos for people to see, because a lot of these old videos, people haven't seen the old Young Penitent videos. Like they might have seen the newest one, like maybe I do the same thing. I just like watch I catch live videos, or the most recent one. There's not a lot of I will say that, okay, someone asked me recently, like, who do you keep up with? Like, what YouTubers do you watch? And like really the only YouTuber I try to keep up with, and I don't even see everything he does, is Abbott Tree Farm, because he's my spiritual father. But besides him, I really don't. I kind of just try to catch, if I'm bored and I go to YouTube, I like go to the live section and see who's live. Maybe Jay Dyer is live. People want to know. People ask me, what do you think of Jay Dyer? Do you watch Jay Dyer? People want to know if it's okay to watch Jay Dyer. And I watch him sometimes if he's live. I don't catch his streams are like 2.5 hours. I'm not going to sit there for I don't often just sit in front of my computer for like 2 hours and catch a whole stream. But if I'm bored and I just want to go to YouTube and find an Orthodox YouTuber just to entertain me for a little bit, I'll stop in with Jay Dyer. I've been watching some of the Study of Stuff. That's Mano. I've been catching some of his streams. He's like basically a DJ. He's a good DJ. He's got good taste in music. I like some of the stuff. He plays some reggae and some punk and some funk, and I like his taste in music. So I've been watching Study of Stuff a little bit here and there. He plays some Orthodox music. Here's an interesting story that happened today at the gym. I was just chatting with this guy at the gym. He's a power lifter, and we were talking about music, and I don't know how it came up, but he brought it up, this band called Sleep. And I didn't know Sleep was like such a big band. He said, Sleep, this is like the biggest band of the genre back in the 90s. And he was like, yeah, Sleep. Oh, I said, I'm going to a monastery. And I said, I'm going to this monastery. And he said, oh, and he says, where is it near? And he said, it's up in Washington. There's no monasteries in Oregon. But he said, yeah, oh, somehow he started talking about this band called Sleep. And he didn't know, he's like, oh yeah, there's this band. And the drummer became a monk and disappeared. And, it was this whole story. And I said, oh yeah, I interviewed him. That was Justin Marler, as Orthodox Boomer Grandma says here. That was interesting. Orthodoxy is definitely, we're getting our tentacles into the culture. We're becoming more known. I don't know how broad it is, but you're going to start just people, you start just meeting people. Like, whereas when I became Orthodox 20 years ago, nobody knew what Orthodoxy was. I didn't even know what it was when I first stepped into a church. I had almost never heard of it. I had read like just a paragraph in my world religions class in college, and that was like all I knew about Orthodoxy. Basically zero. But now people know a little bit. They heard of it. They've seen, they have a little bit of exposure. So yeah, I do watch Jay Dyer sometimes. Sure. I watch him, a little bit of study of stuff. I mean, that's really, I don't know. I mean, that's kind of the people that I will check in with. Blinn Bandit says, good evening. Thanks for another stream. How are you tonight? Well, like I said, I was a little bored. I'm just trying to entertain myself, and I wanted to entertain some other people, so I thought I'd go live. I was hoping somebody would call in. Nobody's calling in, so I'm just talking. I'm just going to entertain you for as long as I have my voice here. So I thought I would share, like, go look at some of my older streams, because a lot of people have not seen, they don't know. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. So they haven't seen some of the older stuff. So here's recommended for you. You've probably seen some of these. If you haven't seen Iron Humbles, that's my music video, my recent music video, and my most recent. And I haven't really been writing a lot of songs. That's like that song, I haven't been doing a lot of new. But so if you go down to the bottom, actually, I have some playlists here, and here's some stuff. I'm just gonna, show you guys kind of some of the stuff that you could watch if you wanted to. Like, here's a playlist of my old music videos, of all my music videos. Okay, so if you haven't, if you're a young penitent and if you're a young penitent subscriber, you haven't seen these, I'd recommend going back. This is from 12 years ago. Here's my Ruthless, Idol Tree, Seraphim Rose. You might have seen that one. These ones are membership only, a live performance I did. Maybe I can show you a little bit of that, just a preview. I went down to a open mic. But by the way, I'm doing this as a live space on X also. And if anybody wants to call in and they have something to say, I want to meet you. I want to know who you are. I want to know my audience. Yes. So here's the link is for Blinn Bandit says, is the link on StreamYard for calling in? Yes. So please call in. I want to know who you are. I want to meet you. Call in. I'll add you to the stage. Let's see. This will play. For you guys. Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Bones Away. The mic. Thank you to the Bones Away Cafe. I've got long hair back then, and look how skinny I was. I probably weighed $160 at that time. Yeah. For the opportunity. Okay, I have a caller in. We'll come back to this. Oh, I know who you are.
Yeah. How you doing, man?
Kyle,
yes,
right?
Sir. Yes, sir. How's it going?
Let me add our names here. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep. You hear me? You
Yes,
hear me
sir.
live and clear? Okay.
Absolutely.
Let's see.
I like the long hair in the video, man. That was glorious.
Did
That's
you?
like a Samson moment. You know what I
Samson?
mean? Yeah. Powers in the hair.
Yep, yeah. And my bishop didn't like it. He was like, oh, there we go. My bishop made a comment. He was like, yeah, a layman should have normal haircut, a shortcut hair. So I finally cut my hair at length. I recently had a visit from my archbishop, but we didn't have any conversation or anything. He was just basically in and out and served liturgy for us. But how are you doing? What's up? Tell
I'm
me your
doing
name
good.
too. What is the meaning behind your name?
Oh, blins are the Russian word for pancakes. I just thought it was funny.
Oh, Blini. Yeah.
Blin bandit.
Blin
Oh,
Bandit.
yeah. But I'm doing all right. I just saw your message in the Telegram group that you were streaming, and I haven't had time to sit down for a stream for a while. So here I am.
Oh, good. You caught a live one.
Yeah, I did.
So I understand you're kind of on a journey to Orthodoxy, right? Have you been baptized yet? You haven't.
I have not, and I started out in a Russian parish with the OCA, and I really enjoyed the inquiry classes going through that, and still attending liturgy and all the services. But I talked to the priest at that one, Father Michael, and he said that until my divorce was finalized from when I was a Baptist, I'm not able to be baptized into the Orthodox Church. So just a
Huh.
waiting game.
I wonder why that. Did he explain why that is? I'm curious.
Oh, it was like we had that discussion over a year ago. I think it was because like if my wife and I were still together and I wanted to stay, or she wanted to stay Baptist, but I didn't, I think he would have been okay with it. But because we were splitting up, like we had already been separated and like not talked to each other for a long time, he said like you should probably have that finalized before you can come on board.
So you haven't had that finalized?
No,
You
we haven't had it finalized yet.
geez, it's been a year. I mean,
It's been 2 years.
how long
It's
does that?
been
How long does it take? I mean,
well, normally not so long. So up here in Washington, it's I think when you file for divorce, I think they give you a 30 or a 90-day cool down or something, to where if at any point if you guys change your mind, you can mend it, and it's like you didn't file, right?
interesting.
But there we had a whole custody battle and all kinds of crazy stuff going on, and I'm not quite out of the woods with that yet. So until
Okay.
that's all sorted,
Oh, is it? Okay, good.
yeah. Well, until it's sorted, I'm done with that at the end of this month. So next month I can start the finalization process.
Oh, good. Awesome.
Yeah, it's it's been a heck of a time, but we're coming up. Everything's good so far.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's see. What else? How did you find or get into Orthodoxy?
I had a good friend for a long time. We used to shoot and train together and just generally hang out. And I noticed that he was always very, I want to say he had some sense of piety to him, but he never attended church. And I invited him when I was a Baptist. I was very staunch, like new IFB kind of Baptist guy. And I was like, you need to come to church, man. Like it's not right to, not go at all. He's like, well, I don't like any of the churches. This is not what religion, this is not what I think religion feels like, because he'd been to different, denominations, Protestant denominations growing up and stuff. And so together we were like, well, how come we never thought about the Orthodox Church? What even is that? Like we didn't know. We had no idea. And this was in like 2023. So we started attending that OCA parish I talked about earlier
So you
together.
guys had a conversation
Yeah.
and it came up. You guys were like, "What is Orthodoxy?" You were just
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah, because we had played an old game called Civilization 5 on the computer, and it's like an empire building game, and you can found a religion as part of your world domination plot kind of thing. But one of them was Eastern Orthodoxy, and I was
Really?
talking to him, and I'm like, I remember that from that game. What the heck even is that? I have no clue. And he's like, yeah, I've heard about that, but I've never like seen a church from that or like anything about it. So like, yeah, we should just go look into it. And we're like, wow, this is great, totally floored, honestly. It's like America's
That
best.
is amazing. That is incredible that a video game is how you found out about orthodoxy, basically.
Yeah. Well, and we weren't playing it when we had that idea, but I had remembered that from when we had played it years ago. And it was
Wow.
just this latent idea in my head for probably 5 or 6 years, and then it hit me. I'm like, what is that? It's like I said, it's America's best kept secret in some sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's fascinating. That is fascinating. Yeah, it was America's best kept secret, but like I said, it's like becoming more well known.
Hmm.
You know, and my personal theory about this is that OBG is asking, what game was it?
Civilization 5.
Okay. I'm not really a gamer. I just can't get into video games.
Uh-huh.
My dad didn't want us to have like a Nintendo growing up. He thought he didn't want us, sitting in front of. So I didn't have a video game growing up. So I just never got into it. After that, it's like none of my brothers are gamers either. So I guess it's like a habit that you
Yeah.
get started as a kid.
Yeah. I've noticed there's kind of two conflicting viewpoints on games from the standpoint of parents, right? They're like either they don't want, like, at least in the religious setting, right? They don't want their kids to play it because, there's violence and, all kinds of worldly bad things, which I understand. But on
Sure.
the other hand, you can play Doom and kill demons. Like, that's pretty cool. You know what I mean?
So I have a theory. This is my own personal theory about why orthodoxy is spreading like wildfire.
Mhm.
And my theory is that we're getting close to the end of the world, and it says in the scripture that the gospel must be preached to the whole world before, and then will the end comes. Okay.
Mhm.
So if we're getting close to the end, the gospel has to be preached,
Yeah.
and you see all this like technologies that are being developed, and the Greater Israel Project, and where the Orthodox understanding, Father Sarah from Rose talked about this, how the Antichrist is going to rule from Jerusalem. And so they're establishing this, the one world government and all that stuff. And you kind of see this, like the possibility of this actually happening, with,
Yeah.
so and when there's darkness in the world, the light shines like even more, like,
Yeah.
so, and you saw this as
Absolutely.
an example during COVID, where people are starting to perceive the lies, and they're starting to ask questions, and that drove hordes of people to the church. Like churches are just like packed now. Our own church, we just had like, I mean, our church is full every week now,
Mhm.
and it never used to. It wasn't like that before. Like we used to have like, I remember it was like basically used to be the choir and then Matushka standing in back,
Yeah.
for Saturday night. It was like that for a decade, and now every week we have full. The church is packed, and it's not a local phenomenon. That's everywhere.
Yeah. Absolutely. It I think things that happen that like not predicate, what's the word, like they're precursors to those events that are scriptural. Like I never believed that COVID, like the vaccine, was like the mark of the beast as some people did, but like I think there's analogs that are going to happen before that to kind of get people used to those kinds of things, if that makes any sense.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
It'll definitely have to. I mean, I think it might have to do something with like a digital ID, where you have to use this to use the currency. Oh, this is interesting. We got another person. I'm going to add Father Joseph to the stream here. Is that okay with you? You don't mind? You want
Sure.
to stay on?
Yeah, absolutely.
Father Joseph. Oh, he
Oh, uh-oh.
disappeared. Well, if you want to,
He
I don't
pulled
know.
one of the Brother Nathaniel video endings where he just vanishes into the abyss at the end. You remember those? I
Oh,
saw
right.
your,
Yeah, he would just disappear. Yeah.
yeah. It
I
was,
don't know.
oh.
Yeah, so Father Joseph, if you want to come back on, I don't know. I guess you're welcome. We're just doing a call-in show here. I added you to the stage, but you disappeared. So
Yeah.
He's an all right guy, you know. I mean, those TO guys are, you know, they're little. They have a bone to pick. That's that's all I will say about the true Orthodox. They tend to have a
Wait, is
bone to
that
pick. What's
is
that?
that is that where he? I don't know. Like, is that like the old believers, or is that something else?
Well, old calendarist kind of guys. True. I think he's part of the. He calls him. He identifies as true Orthodox, and there's a couple other, you know, I don't know, kind of. Abbot Trifon has said that they're schismatic. They're schismatics. So
Hmm.
I tend to not have schismatics on my channel as guests. I one time I had invited him on, but I withdrew the. I had withdrawn the invitation. Um, yeah.
Hmm.
You want to watch the rest of this? A little bit
Sure,
more?
sure. Let's do it.
Well, I don't know if I'm gonna watch the whole thing, but we'll watch some of it. My name is Young Penitent, and I'm an Orthodox Christian rapper. You guys you guys are really in for a show tonight, because after me, you're gonna have a whole list of really talented performers. We have Jesse and the Liars, coming out a little later, I'm not sure what time exactly. So I have 3 songs for you that I'd like to perform. First one is called Idle Tree. And I call it Idle Tree because it's anything except maybe referring to me because I'm an idol and a singer. All right, you guys have heard that song, I think. Maybe I'll play a little bit more. We've got I'm gonna welcome Father Joseph to the stage. This is gonna be interesting. You know, this will be my effort at reconciliation with the fellows over there, the TO. All right, you're on the stage. You're looking like you're looking kind of like the guy from Star Wars, Father Joseph.
Emperor Palpatine.
The guy with the Emperor. But you don't have we don't hear you.
One second. I'm trying to figure out how to the multiple audio streams. Okay, I got that. All right. So no, this is a blanket because it's extremely cold where I am. And
Gotcha.
this is the effervescent medicine, which is confused for orange soda, but is actually medicine.
Okay.
Because I have a cold.
So, a lot of people have been getting sick lately.
Yeah, I know.
Like
I wasn't one of them till tonight.
I had a cold for like 3 weeks.
I actually just woke up. I was finding myself having very odd hours, and so I just woke up probably 5 or 6 minutes ago. I was watching another stream, fell asleep. Inexplicably falling asleep these days very early, and so now I'm awake. So yeah, I guess I joined the stream about thinking about things like the end times you were mentioning there. But you had mentioned some other things. Well, there was some confusion. My matushka came up. The dog wasn't drinking water, so that's kind of where that came into play.
Okay.
But you were talking about some other stuff, and I was kind of moving things and trying to organize them. If you had questions or anything for me, that's cool.
So do you not? I mean, I don't really heat. Are you? Is your house not heated? Do you like try to keep it cool?
No. Our heater isn't exactly working.
Oh, really?
There's some issues with it, but even if it was, which I guess at this point it would make a difference. But yeah, so the lower levels have they have some external heating things to help. But I'm at the upper level where there is like nothing. So
Okay. Well, I hope you have. I hope you get over your cold. Do you know about high dose vitamin C? You know
yes,
do you? Okay.
I get recommended high dose vitamin C from virtually everybody I know, including my bishop, and that just
It
you
it
have no idea how many people have said
it
vitamin C.
works wonders. I'm telling you. When I was, you're not going to believe this. Maybe you might not believe this, but when I had a cold and I was like, when it was bad, I was taking like 60 to 70 grams a day. That's
6 to 7,000 milligrams.
Yeah.
no 60. So that's 60,000.
Oh,
60 to
wow.
70,000 grams. I could go get. I buy vitamin C by the bucket.
Wow.
Wow.
I have a bucket over there, like a gallon bucket that I ordered off of, and so that way you don't have to take the pills. I just take like like a teaspoon or two and stir and mix it up with water, and that way you can get because you got to keep your levels up, so you kind of take it throughout the day, not just like one dose or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that
Ashton,
I've found has been good is that's kind of not as a curative, but as a preventative has been you know what Zicam is, right? It's basically sublingual zinc, and so that is well known for working against colds. I can't find it in the literal dozens of pill boxes I have in my immediate vicinity. Found it. Okay, so it's like this is like actually to ward off and help recover colds, and I couldn't find this for like a day and a half. But anyway, so it's Zicam, and now this can be cut and snipped, and people will be like, Father Joseph takes drugs, because people look for the worst that they can say,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But yeah, so definitely. But yeah, this has been par for the course for winter. So I'm not looking for pity. It could be theoretically argued that if I put the black blanket over my head, it would be hilarious looking, and that's really why I did it. So
I think it does.
all right. So yeah, so you mentioned the possibility of the end times, and that is something that I know that is on a lot of people's heads, a lot of people's minds. But I think the word you were looking for there, Blin Bandit, when you were talking about the vaccines not necessarily being the mark, the word you were looking for is type. These things are a type of the mark. And so everything from the UPCs to the vaccines to um, the biometric tracking, so on and so forth. All of these are a type of the mark that's described in the scriptures. And insofar as they're not necessarily the mark, which means that they're not necessarily the Antichrist, they can be viewed as a harbinger of the world the Antichrist will be born in and will reign in. So there are things we should be aware of because there are things that we can do something about.
Mm-hmm.
And as Christians, we will have to say no
Mm-hmm.
to the mark, or I mean, it says in Revelation, you basically you go to hell if you take the mark. It's like pretty much.
But we've made so many concessions. Like I don't know if you remember the UPC symbols. UPCs actually do have 666 embedded in them. That's mentioned in many statements, even by the creator of the UPC system, George Lauer. So people who freaked out about it, in my opinion, are justified. So, like for example, like on SFIG menu, they refuse to accept any food or anything if there's a UPC code on it, and people are like, "Oh, that's extreme," but it's like if you give up an inch, then they take a mile.
Mm-hmm.
And so now the flip side of that is if you go to, I personally love shopping at Ollie's. I don't know if any of you have heard of that retailer. It's like a discount chain, like a Big Lots chain.
Mhm.
But one thing I thought that was weird when I first started shopping there, first off, they have a lovely selection of Bibles, very sectarian, but still very pretty ones. Um, but I noticed all of their products have QR codes stamped on them. And if you look, the QR codes are stamped directly over the UPC. So you can't scan the UPC. You have to scan the QR code, which does not have 666 coding in it, by the way. But what was interesting is someone actually accidentally scanned a barcode. I think it was for like a can of soda or something, and the thing came out to $17,000, indicating that she had scanned the code correctly. She was supposed to scan the QR code. The barcodes were basically prohibited, even though they were already on the items. So it's interesting that at least one retailer, which I assume is ostensibly some kind of Christian, obviously probably a heretic or something, but that they figured out just use technology to defeat bad technology.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So there's more we can always do to turn away from that system,
Yeah.
because it's not inevitable. And the reality is, the end is always impending upon us. Um, so we have to do what we can now to fight it now. And we're in that sense, I think we're in a very good position. Glory to God. And there's a lot more we can do.
Mhm.
Hmm. That's kind of a message of hope, I suppose.
Yeah. That's very opposite from the accelerationist views that I typically hear from people.
Yeah, and I think that I feel like the accelerationist positions that I've seen are very myopic. They don't. At times, it seems like it's not just that they are just certain of the end. It seems almost like they want it to be proven right,
No,
and
Hmm.
that's true.
I don't think we should play along with it.
Mhm. That accelerationism exists in like a lot of different spheres, not only for like religion end times, but also for different aspects of political issues and things like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, I know.
And it seems like I think the oh, what's a good way to put it? People do want the end stage things to happen, whether it be for end times in their faith or
Or they think that they're
balkanization of
gonna
our
have
country.
they think they're gonna have the advantage of destroying certain races, or they think that they're gonna have the advantage of taking over countries, etc.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean we have to give into it.
Hmm.
I mean, the simple reality is, uh, Christians are called to move forward no matter what. Um, but we don't have to step into the path of progress that people, whether on the left or on the right, have designed for us. Uh, Christianity has the church, the truth of the faith has been around for 2,000 years. There's no reason why any modern movement can demand to tell us what to do about it.
Hmm. Absolutely. Well, and you can even see um, outliers in the Christian community gain a lot of popularity for speaking out against that kind of stuff. Remember that Mari Emanuel didn't get really big until after he refused the mask mandate in his church in Australia.
Hmm. Yeah, I would say that, and that I think that affected the Orthodox witness, everywhere, in terms of people who stood up to it versus people who simply gave into it, because it wasn't even so much about the vax. Although I could argue that the vax is immoral just from the from the fetal stem cell lines, etc. But the point is that the very idea that the government can simply shove something into people's systems without their consent is insane. And the fact that you would be reading that in news articles, like, of course, the government has the right to forcibly vaccine. That's what this was talking about, was statism at an unprecedented level, and a maskless, mindless statism, I should add.
Mhm.
We have a question from the audience. What do you guys do for a living? And I'll let you answer if you like. I'm a groundskeeper.
Okay,
I'm in security.
I'm a priest and YouTuber.
Oh, you went full time?
Yes, I've been full time for about a year and a half.
Oh, wow. Interesting. OBG, congratulations on 500 subs. You deserve it.
Very cool.
Congrats.
By the way, we're doing a call-in show, so if you are watching and you would like to become part of the show, there's a link that I have dropped in the comment section on YouTube, so you can just click the link and I'll let you on if you would like to become part of the show. I'm trying to meet my audience. You know, I want to know who you are. What's your background? What are you doing? Where, you know, I mean, it gives me more data points to know like who I'm talking to, what I need to say, you know, to direct my message, you know, more effectively, basically, is what I want to know. I've talked to Blinn Bandit before, and I've, you know, run across Father Joseph on social medias here and there. You have any new articles out? I know you have like a website, right?
Yeah, the articles is something I really want to get back into. It's just that a lot of it is, for lack of a better word, it is kind of repetitive.
Oh,
And
okay.
so it's one of the things is that you can either get into too much bad news or too much good news, and it will become a repetitive cycle either way. But
Oh,
yeah,
so
I do have to get back to that. Hmm?
you haven't been posting anything new lately, or?
No, I will. I will have to get back to it. I have basically between the shows I have to work on. I have a book I'm working on. Um, and so um, I've started doing incense. I'm backlogged there. Um, and so yeah, it's been busy, and I do help with mission development, and so I'm kind of stretched pretty thin.
Oh, okay.
Um, you know, but I would like to get back to doing articles or training someone to do articles, etc. But yeah. I mean, the site's 21 years old, so it'll be fine the way it is. It went from news website to historical reference, you know, about a decade ago.
So
So
I don't know your background actually. I think someone said something about it on a Twitter post. So were you always in TO, or were you in the canonical church, or what we would consider canonical?
I was, for lack of a better word, I was born in true orthodoxy. To me, true orthodoxy is orthodoxy.
Right. So
So
that's how you were baptized into like.
yeah, I was baptized by a true Orthodox Greek priest, and he's alive and he's in Florida and he's under the Jesuit Kalinikos. I know him pretty well. He's a really nice guy.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
I was baptized in Massachusetts. He retired. That's why he's in Florida.
All right.
As is tradition, retiring to Florida for the better weather.
And was that just the parish in your area, or did you make a conscious decision with that regard, or how?
Ooh, I don't talk much about that. Basically, I was made a catechumen in Miami in the Row Corps before there were multiple types of Row Corps. Uh, and so, you know, basically, when I talk, even this is before I really fully understood the distinction between the two. Basically, the priest told me that if mentioned visiting an OCA parish, and he said, you know, if you go to the OCA, the blood of the new martyrs is on your hands. And so I was like, well, wow, that's pretty harsh.
What year
So
was that? Must have been.
1997.
Oh, okay.
And so I didn't do that afterwards. It was pretty clear that was wrong. So I had to in 1998, was it? It's either 1998 or 1999. I went up to had stayed as a catechumen, taking classes at the Row Corps Parish, etc. And I had to go up to Massachusetts, and I was there for a little while. And I wanted to keep going to church, so I called the priest. Don't remember, I forget his name, but it was the priest in the Boston church, and I was in Plymouth, Mass. Now, as you know, a lot of what the Greek old calendar is the Hakna. A lot of them are in that area of that Massachusetts kind of that New England area.
Oh, I didn't
And
know
so,
that.
yeah, because the monastery is in Boston. I didn't know that either.
Oh, okay.
That, and so I called the Rocor priest and I said to him, okay, hi, I'm a catechumen and I'd really like to continue my catechumenate so I can get baptized because it had already been like a year and a half or so. And the priest was like, okay. And I said, so is there any way you can possibly, do you know of anyone who was in the area who could possibly help me get a ride? I'll pay for gas. And he was like, no. So I was like, okay.
So you were just
Um,
visiting at that time?
No, I was staying in Massachusetts for a while.
Staying there.
Yeah, for
Okay.
work. And so I said, then I was like, okay, so that's understandable. Maybe there are no people nearby. I said, are there any transportation options I can figure out? I'll, figure that out and how to get to church. No. I'm like, okay, that was pretty definitive. I didn't realize, he knew the transit system that well, but okay. So I was like, all right, so are there any ways people that are not in your direct vicinity get there? Do they use a certain train or something? No. So now I'm getting kind of frustrated here because I'm like, this guy clearly just sounds like he doesn't want me to go. So I was like, all right, so I'm in Plymouth. What do I do? I'm stuck here. I want to continue my catechumenate. He's like, there's a nice parish there, St. Mark of Ephesus. Now, I had heard of and passed by the St. Mark of Ephesus. That was an OCA church. Now, remember, the blood of the new martyrs on your hands and stuff. So I was like, that's an OCA church. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, so you're in Rocor and you're telling me to go to an OCA church. And he's like, I'm not telling you anything. And I'm like, okay. And he like, we're done talking, and hangs up. So I'm like, all right, so this is not working.
For context, like before before Rocor had a reunion with Moscow,
Right.
there was a kind of let's call it
Schism?
almost a rivalry, schism you would call it, between OCA and Rocor. They didn't celebrate. They didn't.
Yeah, I would say that now looking back, this is how I would put it. It was about half and half, where half of Rocor thought the OCA was schismatic, the other half of Rocor thought they were estranged brothers, and everyone kept their opinions to themselves.
Okay.
And so you never really knew what you were dealing with. And so ultimately, I had visited Boston because I had read that, somewhere in the history of Roker there was a monastery there. I'd already visited, bought some candles, thought they were cool, so on and so forth. So I just figured after that discussion, I was like, all right. I called the priest in Florida, by the way. His wife answered, and she didn't really say much except to say, okay, well, then I guess pray by yourself. And I was like, huh, well, that seems to have been the option I already had. So I was like, yeah, let me think here. So I figured I'd call him up and just said, hey, I was just wondering like if there was any churches around me. And they're like, oh yeah, there's a priest around. He's like 10 minutes away. I was like, oh well, that's handy. And so I went there, and I was there for about 2 months. I ended up staying at the monastery for another 4. And at one point, and I was going to the church on Sundays that was near in Plymouth. And the priest asked me, because now it had been around 2 years. And he said, so when do you want to be baptized? And I said, I was like, well, I'm at this point, I was being mostly sarcastic and joking with it because I'd given up on the idea of ever knowing when I was going to be baptized. So I said, I guess I'm on the St. Constantine plan. And I'm just assuming that it'll happen sometime. And he's like, "Oh, that was funny." There was no laughter when he said it, but then he was just like, "So really, when are you planning to get baptized?" And I said, "At this point, I'm not planning anything. I'm assuming that the church is going to tell me when I'm going to be baptized." And he was like, "Well, that's a great assumption. You'll be baptized in 2 weeks." And so I was, and the next week he said, we have to figure out where we're going to find water. And I'm like, we're in Plymouth, Massachusetts. Don't we have lots of water? Because there's a large beach there. And so I was baptized in Plymouth Bay a couple of weeks later. Yeah, that's that.
Okay. And that was at the St. Mark of Ephesus parish?
No. This
At
was
the-
this was a mission parish in Plymouth, Mass, called the Ascension of Our Lord. That was affiliated with St. Mark of Ephesus. Oh, that with St. Mark of Ephesus in the OCA. That never happened. I did try to go there once to visit, just to
Okay.
make good on the request. And the week I went there, the priest was like, "We're having a wedding next week, and make sure to tell your friends of all religions that they're welcome to show up." And I'm like, "Why the heck did you just say that?" And like, why would you specify that? And I'm like sitting here like, this is weird.
So this parish, what jurisdiction was it? The one you got
no
back?
Hockna, which
Hockna.
and then they most of Hockna in 2011 and 12 folded into the GOC Kalinikos. So
Okay,
Hockna,
so
what you see as Hockna on the web now is not the reality of
and
Hockna.
that stands for what? What is that? Hockna is
Holy Orthodox Church in North America. They were Greek Old Calendars.
Greek or and at that time, when you got baptized, were they in communion with Rokor at that time, or anybody?
No. That actually they broke from Rokor. Hockna broke from Rokor in 1986 and joined the Synod of Archbishop Maxentios of Athens. And there's a lot of controversy about that. And if I'm going to be quite honest, a lot of people did not even know about the nature of the controversy. They just understood it was about ecumenism, etc. But yeah.
OBG asks, Hockna, is that Etna?
Hockna is not Etna, but Etna is now also part of the GOC as well.
Oh, okay.
Etna used to be part of the SIR, the Synod in Resistance, which was in communion with Rokor, and they re-entered into communion with Rokor in 1994, just before I went into Hockna. Now, I left Hockna. I went
It's so convoluted.
It's not convoluted anymore, though, because whether Hockna or Etna, both of them are under the GOC now. They're both part of the same church.
Oh, okay.
So, because Etna joined in 2011 to the GOC, but it was a different kind of joining. But the point is that they all went under the GOC of Archbishop Kalinikos. So right now, all Etna and the priest I was baptized under are now in the same church.
So you must have met Brother Nathaniel at the monastery.
No.
No, he wasn't there yet?
No, my meetings with Brother Nathaniel stem wholly from after, because I joined ROAC. He was part of he eventually joined Gregory of Colorado at one point after leaving HTM. And so when Gregory of Colorado turned against his synod, Brother Nathaniel, I think, just saw it as an opportunity to leave, and he ended up staying with Archbishop Andreev in New Jersey.
Okay, here's a question from the audience. Maybe you can answer. Archangel Michael says you are not to call a man father, except your birth father. Would you like to try to take a stab at that?
How many
Sure.
times are we going to beat this dead horse?
Oh, this is easy. Hold on, give me 1 second. Who was it? What was their name?
Archangel Michael. Up a little ways.
Okay. Archangel Michael. Do you have a Bible? That's my question to you. If you have a Bible, what I'd like you to do is open up to St. Paul's first letter to the Corinthians and go to chapter 4, 15, verse 15. And when you get there, just explain it to me.
Okay. So you have your Archangel Michael, you have your
There's your homework.
Easy enough.
Now I feel like I'm gonna get quizzed.
Let's see if he comes back.
They usually don't come back for that. That's too direct. That one.
There's no coming back from that.
No.
There's no coming.
Argue with St. Paul. It's just not going to work.
He's going to tell us, I can't find it in the Passion Translation. What am I supposed to do?
So we are having a call-in show. I don't think I want to go like past 9 o'clock. I gotta like say my prayers and go to bed. I gotta be at work.
It's 8:50 where you are?
Yeah, it's 8:50 here, and I gotta be at work at 7.
Okay. And I was planning on going to bed soon anyway. So
Well, we got an hour in, so I guess we can call it a successful show.
Yeah. When do you want to have another one of these?
I should just be doing these more often, honestly. This just format of just going live, and just okay. So Archangel Michael comes back with,
Oh,
Are you
no.
not aware the Greek language was considered the language of the enemy?
The language of the enemy. That's interesting. Did you know that the majority of the Jews in the time of Jesus, I don't know if you're going to call him Yahshua or whatever, but did you know that they were all using Greek because they were using the Septuagint in their regular daily usage, which was Greek? Just wondering. Also, did you look at the verse? Oh, it's getting better.
Archangel Michael's rejoinder is, your pride is your downfall. I shall recompense your words upon your head.
Yeah, said by a guy calling himself Archangel Michael.
Accompanied by the Holy Spirit. All right. Well, I guess
for a bonus.
I mean, this is interesting. We have people of all types watching my channel, and this is good. I wanted to meet my audience, and I want to find that this is research purposes here, and I wanted to find out who's watching and what they think. And there's, I had just I'll add OBG's asking to be a mod, and I will do that. I'll add you after I get off the stream. I can't go into I'm kind of busy being a host right now, but I'll add you.
And so, hold on, I have a question. Is it more sinful to call someone else father, or is it more sinful to call yourself by an angel's name?
Well, I would say that it's not sinful to call someone father because St. Paul advocates for it, but it is more sinful to impersonate the holy when you are not holy.
Okay.
I noticed that he's quoting Matthew 23:9. I'm just going to put it in there because he just doesn't seem to want to listen. 1 Corinthians 4.
I was just asking because he was going by Archangel Michael in the chat, so I thought.
Yeah.
I honestly don't. I think using like pictures of saints for your profile picture is a little.
I don't have a problem with that. I do it myself.
Do you?
But that's we're Orthodox Christians. We choose the name of a saint, etc. That we love and respect. But once again, there you go. It's in the chat now. Your angelness. The point is, it's I've answered you. Now you have to answer back. Otherwise, you're just repeating yourself and looking silly.
Well, he can call in. We can. Here's the link. If he wants to have a discussion, we can. You're invited. I don't want to offend my audience, so I'm Mr. Michael. You're welcome to call in. I want him to keep watching. I don't want to. Alienate my audience. So he's welcome to call in. If not, we'll probably shut the stream down here.
If he cannot address 1 Corinthians 4:15, there's nothing left to say. And
my answer. So I'm not I don't get questions. Well, sometimes people ask me questions, but my answer is I just go by the tradition of the church, and I'm not highly educated, okay? I'm a simple believing Orthodox Christian, and I believe orthodoxy is the truth, and I just follow the traditions of the church the best I can, and we call our priest father in church, and so that's what I do, okay? I'm at the simple peasant believer level, and so that's what I do. I just
it looks like he said he's leaving, so
okay. Well.
That's what I said. Usually when it comes to that verse, because once you point out, it says, call no man father, St. Paul calls someone father, that people have a meltdown. And this is the response. But in any case, it was fun being on. I got to go maybe find some vitamin C, find some more medicine.
Sure.
Or something.
Bump up the C. All right.
All right. Well, have a good night. God bless you.
All right. Thank you.
Holy Spirit. Okay. Bye now.
Good night, Father.
Bye. All right, so I think maybe to end the stream, I'm gonna just let this video play out. How's that sound?
Sure,
End,
that sounds
end
good.
of the live performance.
All right, let's
Let's
do
do
it.
it.
What's the purpose? If it's just for a check, I'm a good. This is what they call surface on the surface. I'm instead. My reputation on the line is better protected. I've been doing this a time, so I know what's expected. 40 hours in the grind. It can get hectic, so I try to keep my mind in a state of peace. At ease, at pace, like six at least. I breathe because I see so much austerity. And what's more complete, lack of love and charity. Don't sell it, don't ask me, follow me. One thing I know, I was blind, now I see. I believe in Jesus Christ, is the light of me. I guarantee you, the time will be inside you see. They say money doesn't grow on trees, but it's made out of paper. You know what I mean? What's the value of a life? I say it's priceless. And yet I keep an attitude of sand that I ride with. You understand that you demand to be a sacrifice. I'm planning to raise my hands up in the afterlife. Rap wise, it's like a balance in the nonchalance when I want to take talent in the sense of something I shouldn't want. Don't sell it, don't pass me, follow me. One thing I know, I was blind, now I see. I believe in Jesus Christ and life to me. I guarantee you the time will be excited to see. Don't sell it, don't pass and follow me. One thing I know, I was blind, now I see. I believe in Jesus Christ and life to me. I guarantee you the time will be excited to see. I'm more of a sinless wreck. I go to church for the service every chance I get. Inside, like how I can resurrect, like I never slept, like I tell death. You can, better yet, let me rest in peace. The next step, separation from the flesh and deep. You can set me free. I'll be tested. My enemy bless me. Then now I got arrested. My friend Fred left me. I never been rejected to such a degree. 3 nights on the don't sell it, don't ask me, follow me. One thing I know, I was blind, now I see. I believe in Jesus Christ and this is life to me. I guarantee you the time will be exciting. Don't sell it, don't ask me, follow me. One thing I know, I was blind, now I see. I believe in Jesus Christ and this is life to me. I guarantee you the time will be exciting. Don't sell it, don't ask me, follow me. One thing I know, I was blind, now I see. I believe in Jesus Christ and this is life to me. I guarantee you the time will be exciting. Yeah.